Hello, fellows. Just another quick, pretty poor quality video. I thought I was building the incredible Exalted Sorcerer's kit for Thousand Suns, and I was having a look online, and actually I could see there wasn't a particularly good video on magnetizing the disc for the Exalted Sorcerer, so I thought I would just make one here if anyone is interested in doing so. This is the way that I've chosen to do it, and I think it's worked pretty reliably. So obviously you build up your Exalted Sorcerer. This is the first chapter in the instructions. It's the one that it wants you to build on the disc. Incredible model, even though if it's not quite matched to Primaris scale, because it was, to my knowledge, the last wave of miniatures that came out before Primaris. Still incredible, and as you'll see when we get him on the disc, really the scale looks fine, and you can do some shenanigans with the base to make him even more imposing. So obviously, why would you want to do this? Well, in the rules currently, they're always chopping and changing what they're doing. The Exalted Sorcerer's kit obviously builds 3 different sorcerers, but they're actually each individual characters, individual units, if you like, and each of them have different profiles currently. So by magnetizing your sorcerer on the disc, it gives you basically just more options. You can obviously then take him off the disc, have him just be a normal sorcerer on foot, or even, proxy him as like a, what is it? I forget the word now. Aspiring sorcerer, is that the word? Something like that, up and coming sorcerer, so you can lead a squad of Rubric Marines. It's particularly useful because Rubric Marines come in squads of 10, but they only come with 1 aspiring sorcerer model. So by being able to have another sorcerer on foot, you can split your rubrics up a bit more as well. So that's why you might want to do this. Anyway, that's enough of that. I can quickly show you guys how I actually did it. So really simple. Essentially, it's just a case of drilling 2 holes into the feet and pushing in the magnets, making sure that they're nice and flush. That way you're not going to have him be a weird sort of angle because the magnets are pushing out. The way to do this, if you've never used a drill before, I have the Army Painter drill, really fairly affordable drill, much better than the GW one. And then also bought the Army Painter extra drill bit set as well, because this comes with all the different sizes that you need. And to go with that, I got the Army Painter magnets as well. These are the larger, I believe it's 1mm by 5mm, but it also comes with a not insignificant amount of 1mm by 3mm magnets. And these are what I use for this because, as you can see, they're a much more appropriate size for the foot. Because he's not the chunkiest of boys. I also build a lot of Tyranids and they have a lot of larger ball joints, but whenever you're working on a marine-sized miniature, you're not going to want more than a 3mm generally for a lot of the magnetic joints. So that's what I've used. If you're using the drill, you always want to start off with a little pilot hole. So essentially, you take a much smaller drill bit like this. It's only I think this is just 1mm across. Then you can make a tiny little pilot hole, which is basically just a little hole. Only needs to go 1mm deep, given that the magnets are only 1mm in thickness. And then you can slowly work up, so you can then essentially aim to work up to 3mm diameter. This is the largest drill bit that comes with the Army Painter drill bit set, and it's perfect because it complements their magnets perfectly as well. And then essentially you just drill really slowly with this, drilling, really light pressure, and be sure to sort of every few turns turn it counterclockwise as well, just to help pull out all of the plastic that you're obviously drilling into, and then that's going to create these nice little holes. You can just push these magnets in, a little bit of super glue. Again, I don't know why I've got everything Army Painter, but I got Army Painter super glue. Works, yeah, perfectly fine for these to keep them in. So that's on your sorcerer itself. Now, this kit makes it super easy to attach him to the disc because the disc comes in 2 parts. You have this little central piece, which is what he actually stands on, and then you have this larger ring. As you can see, it's covered in white tack, but this is the larger ring, which combined makes this huge piece here. But by having this separate smaller piece, it's very easy to position your character on it, but also to just drill. Again, the same as we did on the actual sorcerer. Just drill little holes into the base, and then make these flush. Now you can see I say make them flush. They're not actually completely flush because it's not that thick of a disc. It's just more than 1 millimeter. But that does mean that if you were to drill the whole way through, you can see really that the tension started there. There's little marks where the drill almost came through. As soon as you see that, you can just stop. You don't need to really concern yourself with the aesthetic of this, because obviously when you place the sorcerer on top of those magnets, you're not going to be able to see those. But as you can see, you can't see any of the actual top side of where that was, but then you have your 2 magnets underneath. So he'll just attach perfectly to that, and then from there we can just essentially, once we've done this, glue this portion into the disc here, like so, and then we'll be able to build up the miniature. I'll show you guys what that looks like when it's all complete. We're then obviously going to have to do the same on a base, so we can drill little holes from underneath, stick magnets in, the same as we've just done on the disc, and then we'll also be able to magnetize our boy to the base as well. And that's pretty much it. Not terribly difficult, but yeah, the kit makes it nice and easy, but then I just figured I wanted to show you guys how to do that if you are interested, because it will give you some options. And then, as I say, this was the way that worked best for me. If you would like any tips or advice specifically on drilling or using magnets, please do leave a comment and I will try my best to answer. Before I go, the only other thing I will say is make sure that you're testing the charges. Is charge the right word? Don't know. Of the magnets before you glue them. So it doesn't necessarily matter which way you stick them in the sorcerer. But then you really want to be careful that when you're putting them into the disc, that you're making sure that they're attracted to each other and not repulsed. So that again, you're going to end up with this nice strong stick. And otherwise you're going to end up with the opposite problem, which is actually your sorcerer might end up flying off the disc, which would be pretty awesome if it was sustainable, but alas, it is not. Alrighty, and so then here we are with the finished piece, just about. Obviously ready for priming or so, but yeah, sorcerer, disc fully built. Now the thing with having the magnets underneath, obviously it's just blue tack to the base at the moment, but you can't really see these. For one, you can try and make sure that one of them is covered by this warp flame energy or so as it is, and then the other one, because it's just tucked away underneath, by the time you spray paint this and paint it up, like, you're really not going to see it. Obviously you could, if you really wanted to, stick a bit of green stuff over the top and sculpt that into the base, but I really just think that would be a waste of time. So yeah, it ends up being a pretty tidy job. As I say, the kit really helps you out with making this possible, but then nice and easy, our sorcerer can just pop straight on. Really nice strong hold there. He's never going to come off when you're moving him around the battlefield. You can hold him upside down and he's gonna stay on there. Obviously he'll shake a bit back and forth, but that's just because of the weight distribution. So there we go. Really solid way to just make that nice change. And then obviously again, you would just do the same to the base. I was saying earlier you could drill holes and put magnets inside, but really thinking about it, you can also just like put some cork on top, drill a hole into that with your pilot hole, then the larger hole, and then stick magnets in there as like little rocks, and then you've got magnets in the base as well, so you can easily take him off here and then have him walking around on the base. But there you go, that is how, if I can do this one-handed, pull him off. See, he doesn't want to go, there we go. But there you go, that's how you can quite easily magnetize the Exalted Sorcerer to the flying disc. So yeah, as I say, hopefully that helped some of you guys out, and please do leave me a comment if you would like any advice on drilling or magnetizing in general, and I can try and help you guys further. Alright, cheerio.